Good afternoon, and thank you for tuning in. My name is Jen Theuri, and you are watching Abled Differently. On today's episode, we bring to you events that took place in the past weeks, championing for different causes, with the main aim being disability awareness. Let's get started.
We're differently abled, differently.
The Innovation to Inclusion project, implemented by Leonard Cheshire and partner organizations, came to a close with the beneficiaries attesting to its success. Take a look.
The story of success for the Innovation to Inclusion Eye to Eye project was told on the 25th of March during its closeout event.
The Eye to Eye project has been an eye-opener for us in the hospitality sector because prior to engagement with this project, there were very little, if any, conversations about disability in the hospitality workplace.
When I came to know of this portal last year, 2021 August, and by 2nd of August I had registered fully and started applying for opportunities. I have to say that by this time I was a student at Masero University. I have since graduated. I left school in October, late October, and by November 22nd I had already got my first opportunity.
This sensitization program that we had really helped create awareness and change the mindset for the youth, because those are the people who are working with us. Since then, we've seen a massive transformation in our call center. We see people working together, having meals together, and that's really encouraging to see.
We sought to see how do we increase economic empowerment and well-being of women and men with disabilities.
The project was implemented in Kenya and Bangladesh, with Leonard Cheshire partnering with other organizations to ensure its success in Kenya.
Leonard Cheshire and the AI2I team are confident to say that there has indeed been relevant capacity building, creation of awareness, facilitation, innovation, flexible adaptations and collaboration with the multiple stakeholders.
Eye to Eye project partnered with the National Council for Persons with Disability to develop the NCPWD Career Portal, a recruitment system that brought together all parties involved during employment.
It's a concept that was floated to ensure that we get a very good service provider and a digital platform that will be able to bring together persons with disabilities and employers. We've been able to advertise for positions, both headquarters, call center, field positions, and we've been able to get a very good pool of candidates. What this portal actually helps us do is able to help us filter the nature of the disabilities that can actually suit us, because we are not fully resourced to accommodate all nature of disabilities.
Apart from employment, they also participated in other activities that aligned with their objectives.
We were able to support Kenya National Bureau of Statistics even with the 2019 census, where we were using the Washington set of questions. If you were asked, are you able to walk for this distance? Are you able, with or without glasses, are you able to see? Those are some of the support systems we were able to put in for the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. We've supported OPDs to be able to generate data. We say if you do not have evidence, if you do not have numbers, then you are not a better advocate.
Among the challenges faced during the implementation of the project was the COVID-19 pandemic that saw drastic changes in normal operations.
We got challenged by COVID, we got challenged by processes, organizational policies. We were not able to get enough good cohort of persons with disabilities who are experienced. We have them there, but we realize that they're already in jobs and it was difficult to support them to move to another job.
Despite the fact that the project was coming to a close, its sustainability is dependent on partner organizations.
We are now looking into the future, and this means that the interventions that have been established this far provide a promise of sustainability and that inclusive employment is truly within reach.
I've benefited out of this interaction to be a better assessor when grading and assessing amenities for persons with disabilities, not only for guests but also for staff. Initially, when we came for hotel classification, we only checked for, we have a ramp and we have a toilet that suits this, and those were best for guests. But now, out of interaction with this particular project, I've actually been able to ask for more.
Through our Employer of Year Awards initiative, we actually dedicated one category for this purpose, to recognize and also to reward employers and enterprises that excel in practices that promote diversity and inclusion in their workplaces.
Persons with disability, together with our consultative organizations, came up with materials and tools that were used in several places, in forums, in social media, in the magazines, and all that place. And we know that these sort of materials will be used even sustainably moving forward.
Dr. Richard applauded the project for driving the objective of the Global Disability Summit.
UK's approach to disability focuses on 4 key areas, and I've seen all of them talked about this morning. The first one is rights, the second is voice, the third is choice, and the last one is visibility. And as I say, I've seen all of them talked about, and I've heard witnesses and testimonials this morning that address all of those. And that's, I think, a fantastic achievement for Eye2Eye and our partners at how they've delivered against this approach.
The guest of honor, Mr. Nelson Marwa, asserted the need to employ persons with disabilities in what they have qualified in.
The right to work is a fundamental right. So he has speak after speaker emphasized this. The right to work is a fundamental right. It's not just a constitutional right. It's a human right. It's a human right. So when you are employing persons living with disability, we want to believe we are not filling a gap. There is no gap we are filling. And we are not doing a privilege. We are not doing privilege to these people. It's a right.
He was also hopeful that Persons with Disability Amendments Bill will be implemented soon.
The Persons with Disability Bill 2021 has now gone through the first reading in the National Assembly. It is our prayer that it will be enacted into law in the life of the current parliament.
Let's take a short breather, but we'll be right back with more. Don't go too far.
We're differently abled, differently. We're differently abled, differently.
Welcome back, and you are watching Abled Differently. Epic Lorraine Life Events held a luncheon to appreciate the good work being done by parents and caregivers of children with disabilities. Take a look.
Epic Lorraine Life Events is an organization that has been in existence for over a year now, and it focuses on 4 areas, one of which took place recently at the Serena Hotel, which celebrated parents and caregivers of children with disabilities.
For us as an organization, what we wanted is to give these parents something nobody has given them before, which is so much love, which is take them somewhere they have never been. So I was not going to take them to just any hotel. It was going to be a 5-star.
The campaign that was rolled out on social media saw Kenyans come out in large numbers to cast their votes for the most exceptional parents and caregivers they've come across.
We asked people on social media to vote for parents and caregivers of children living with disability. Now, we received a lot of criticism because then people want you to think about that child or that person living with disability. But isn't that what we talk about every time? We talk about them. We tend to forget the caregiver. And not just for people living with disability, it is caregiver of people who are sick. When your mother is sick, when your grandmother is sick, we tend to forget the energies the person taking care of that person goes through, because it's a whole other animal in its own right.
Damaris Kilelo is a stay-at-home mom. She finds time to engage with fellow parents on different platforms while advocating for parenting a special needs child with a smile. When she saw an advert on a friend's Facebook page she shared in her cycles, asking caregivers to participate, but they decided to front her instead, and she won the 5-star luncheon at the Serena Hotel, an experience she terms as simply refreshing.
I had told them to nominate anyone they know, and so they went on nominating me. And I had no thought of like I can win this thing, you know. I've never won anything out there like kind of in this setup. So when later I saw that I had won, I was like, it came as a shock, and it was unique. And for me, the thing that stood out on that post, somebody out there thinking about the caregivers, because most of the people will be there thinking about the children themselves, but many will not take time to think about the caregivers.
Damaris was overwhelmed by emotions for the kind gesture of a 5-star experience availed to her by the Epic Lorraine Life events. She also welcomed other organizations to come aboard in support of such noble efforts.
Proverb, I think 11:25, that says that those who refresh, those that refreshes others will themselves be refreshed. And for me, I want to tell Lorraine that she has refreshed us as the caregivers, and may the Lord refresh her as well.
Having been a present father to his son, Ben reached out to all fathers, encouraging them to embrace their children and give support to their spouses.
To any father out there who's thinking of leaving their wife or their family because of a child who is different from the others, I think we are not in the position of God. So it's God who gives, and there's a purpose. He knows why He brought that kid to your family. So probably He knew you are the right person, the right parent, the right father to take care of this kid. So when you leave your wife, then you are not walking in the plan of the Almighty.
When Lorraine witnessed disability firsthand in her family and saw the impact it had on the caregivers, she was able to understand the toll it can have on both the parents and caregivers.
Some of these things affect you differently when it is now directly affecting you. And we had to rescue my 14-year-old niece, and the mother had left. And left a working father with 3 children, and she took off. You know, she took off with the younger one at least. And the firstborn has severe cerebral palsy and autism. And guess who had to step in? The mother, the grandmother now, you know. And then I watched my auntie, and my heart bled for her. You know, my heart literally bled for her, because I was like, her life has changed. Her world has changed. She's in retirement, number one. So she was busy enjoying her life. But here she is saying, I can't have my grandchild locked in a house, because what else can this father do? By the way, we tend to be very judgmental about these parents. But what else can he do? He has to go to work. So he can only leave that child locked in. So it's not out of lack of love. It is, I have nobody else. I can't afford a house help. I can't afford anybody to come and, you know, watch over my child. The brother has to go to school. So the only thing I can do is make sure I wake up early, feed the child, go to work, come back, feed the child, change the diaper. Can you imagine what that life is about? You know, so for me, it became now, it's no longer just about the children, but the caregiver.
Fathers were well represented, among them Mr. Jonathan Metet, the appointed disability mainstreaming champion at the Technical University of Mombasa. He had been fronted by fellow parents to participate, and he made it despite the distance. Mr. Matete not only advocates but also sensitizes on matters disability at the community level.
We need to embrace, after accepting the situation the way it is, because we should not be in denial forever. If we stay in denial, that child will not get any assistance. So the only thing is to accept, to move on and to embrace, and to expose these children to opportunities outside there.
Although the event took place in March, it was marking the celebration of Valentine's Day. Lorraine, together with her team, are grateful to the partners who stepped in to cater for lunch and gifts to make the day a success, and in playing a huge role of rewarding parents and caregivers.
The biggest need was diapers, because some of them, even at the age of 20, they're still wearing diapers because of their disability. And so they said, please get us diapers. They said, please get us tissues. Please get us this. Please get us that. And because of just, the continuation of us begging, we are professional beggars when it comes to some of these things. And, we kept telling people, please help us, help us to be able to give these guys an amazing time. Thank you. Thank you for loving Epic Lorraine Life Events as much as you've loved us. Thank you for answering us. Each time we call on you, you always are there to vote, to do whatever we ask you to do. We are eternally grateful.
The Epilepsy Afro-Fashion Fair took place in Nakuru City in a move that is geared towards taking epilepsy awareness to community spaces. Take a look.
The 7th edition of the Epilepsy Afro-Fashion Fair took place in Nakuru City on the 25th of March, just a day before the International Purple Day. With creating awareness and empowerment as the main objective, the event targets community spaces as its platform.
The initiative for this event actually started from a point of wanting to creatively raise awareness about epilepsy. But over time, we realized that it can also be a platform to market products, especially those that are created through art, from clothing to beadwork to drawings to different handmade art pieces, especially by youth living with epilepsy. We integrate also youth who do not necessarily live or have epilepsy.
We tend to forget about the minorities in these small cities like Nakuru. So as you can see through what has happened today, most of the people who came are from within Nakuru. Some people are not aware of the disease, now they are aware. Some are aware of the disease, but they didn't have the energy or even the opportunity to talk about it. But due to the fact that they were able to bring it to Nakuru, it has opened up gaps and knowledge to many people. Hopefully they'll be able to go even to Garissa and Malindi.
We want to utilize the community spaces in terms of doing these events. And American Corner came through, and they were our sponsors in terms of, getting us the space to do this kind of event. And also the models and also the designers who came through. I think we have only worked with one designer who has been there in the other, shows. All other designers were new.
People with epilepsy face a lot of stigma, evident in Brenda's testimony.
I was molested in the hostels because hakuna mtu anataka kuishi hostel moja na mimi, so they leave. Na wanasema nisifunge mlango watakuja. Campus, mtu anakuja zile masaa anataka. I don't know how, but every time for 8 sequent times is to find myself kwa floor naked. The first time I really cried, I went for checkup, sikuenda polisi because I didn't. Sometimes wapi polisi, unawaambia nini, and polisi will always say, oh, uko campus, unajua unaendanga na vijana pengine ulilewa, sijui nini, and it was something I'd seen with my other students. So, all those times, I was strong. Actually, my mom came to know him last month and I have been abused sexually. And she was so mad at me for not saying.
Lina, who is an advocate, also attests to the difficulty experienced in coming to terms with the condition.
Came to be in terms with it this year. So it's a confusing stage because you have to pass through denial. After denial, you have to be asking why you, then come to acceptance and you take your medicine, then everything is okay. Kidogo kidogo, life goes back to normal. It won't be normal the way it was, but to adapt to the new changes.
However, with the proper information and care, they live to tell their success stories.
It should not determine who you are. If you find me out, you won't know I have epilepsy. Lina is an advocate, not an epileptic person. So people with epilepsy, you can achieve anything that you want to achieve. You can achieve. The caregivers are doing a wonderful job. Parents, always, when you have epilepsy, it's not my own issue itself. Also, my parents are involved with it, my relatives, my friends. It's a communal. We need a community as one to help one person manage the condition and live like any other person.
Jackie Waiharo, who was in attendance, agrees that epilepsy awareness is a worthy cause.
I wanted to learn more about this condition people call epilepsy. So, and I think more awareness should be created because not much people or more people know about epilepsy. And I'm a teacher too. So as a teacher, I also need to know how I can handle a child who has epilepsy because they may have those seizures in school and they don't know how to handle them. So this event has been so much empowering to me and has opened my eyes on how to treat people and how to take care of a person with epilepsy.
Let's take a look at the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities.
Article 25 of the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities states that state parties shall, Part B, provide those health services needed by persons with disabilities, specifically because of their disabilities, including early identification and intervention as appropriate, and services designed to minimize and prevent further disabilities, including among children and older persons.
We've come to the end of the show for today. A big thank you to the organizers of the events that we featured. Keep setting goals and making them visible. My name is Jane Theory. Goodbye.
We are here and we are strong. Let's be counted as we move on. Make a difference, change lives as we tell our different stories. We are capable, beautiful. We are born to do great things. We're unstoppable, incredible, 'cause we're differently abled, differently.